So when it comes to high intensity exercise, it feels great, right? It feels amazing. To me, there's something truly special about doing a workout and lying on the floor and just feeling completely dead. It is one of the best sedatives in the world. If you've ever done a workout that's just high intensity, I mean, you're pegging out that 90% plus heart rate for 15 minutes or 20 minutes plus, and man, when you get done, you're just like lying on the floor. You get that cortisol spike, that stress response in your body, and man, like it's legit like a sedative. I mean, you will just feel so calm and so relaxed, almost to a fault. You may not have much energy to do much activities the rest of the day, but it feels great and it feels effective and it feels like it burns a bunch of calories and it just feels like it works. And I think that's why so many people just go towards that type of exercise and they go towards it every single day. What happens is then they get to feeling really bad because maybe because here's the deal. So let's break it down. You can only spend so much time per week, and everybody's level and amount is different, but you can only spend so much time per week in that like 95% heart rate, close to 100% heart rate, in those high intensities, whether that be the heart rate or whether that be the lactate buildup or whether that be heavy weight. Whatever the case is, there's a limit to it, okay? If you're lifting weights over 90%, it's funny because almost anything that you do that's at that super high intensity, lifting weight at 90% plus, your body can only afford so many reps per session, so many reps per week, so many sets per week, right? And if you look at things like Perlipin's chart, you can start to get guidelines, and everybody's body is different, but guidelines on how many reps to do in strength exercise. And it's the same way with high intensity endurance exercise. Somebody that's trying to peak for a 5K event, like they're not going to do, I mean, even if you're going for all out performance, like they're not going to run at like 5K high speed every single day. They're not going to do high speed intervals every day. They're not going to just go run a 5K as fast as they can every day. They're not going to do anything as fast as they can every single day. And in fact, there's going to be a lot of aerobic base building and a lot of time spent at a slower pace for longer durations. And then also there's cross training that could help affect their running at different times and different seasons. And that's where you get into, kind of periodization type thing. But all that to say, like even for performance, if you only care about performance alone, high intensity every single day is not going to be optimal. I'm talking about every day, all year round, especially from a health perspective. If you want to have good health, there's a lot of benefits to long, slow cardio. A lot of benefits to long, slow cardio. And I'm not saying there's not benefits to high intensity cardio. What I'm saying is if you want to be well-rounded, you need to spend time in all those intensity levels and not just that high intensity, and know that your body can only recover so much and you can only spend so much time at high intensity levels per week. Also, muscle building is extremely important for your tendon health. Building muscle is great for longevity up to a certain point. So like taking that time to do accessory work and slow reps and weightlifting, like in lifting weights and doing a bench press, but not just focusing on getting the weight from A to Z as fast as A to B as fast as possible, but trying to, okay, let me control that eccentric really slow and try to get a nice stretch in the muscle, really activate that muscle, get some muscle tears, get some muscle damage going on, working those slow reps, which helps work on your tendon strength. So doing some slow eccentric, slow lowers with a nice pause, all those types of things, but they don't really bring that high level of intensity. You go do 3 sets of 10 with slow lowers. I mean, it's got a different intensity, but it's not that same, like, if you've really done a CrossFit workout like Cindy, which is a 20-minute AMRAP of 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 air squats, and you do that for 20 minutes as fast as possible, right? That brings a totally different level of intensity than going in the gym and just doing bodybuilding style workouts where like, okay, I'm going to do 3 sets of 10. I'm going to do each set of 10, 2 reps from failure, and I'm going to do them with a slow lower and a 2-second pause at the bottom. totally different intensity levels, and they both have their benefit. So, you need to do both. You need to do that long, slow cardio, that long, slow aerobic base building. And to me, the high intensity stuff has its place. To me, once or twice a week. I think to the really, really, really hard, like all out efforts, once or twice a week. And really being careful of the time spent in those ranges depending on what your goals are. If you're doing a workout where you're going to spend 45 minutes in that 95% plus range, you need to understand that your body is going to have trouble recovering from that. Now, if you've never backed off the volume, if you've never backed off the intensity, if you just do that every single day, you might say, well, no, I feel fine. I feel the same all the time. I recover from those workouts just fine. So if you say that, I would challenge you to take a week off. Take a week off. So if you constantly spend time in those high intensity ranges all the time, you do high intensity 6 days a week, my challenge to you would be, okay, take a week off and then go back to your strictly just strength work and see how you feel. See how you feel from there, right? You will probably feel crazy strong after taking a week off from all that high intensity and being really recovered. Now, going into a high intensity workout after a week off might hurt. It might hurt a little bit extra. I remember when I was doing CrossFit day in and day out every single day, I remember times of taking the weekend off, taking Saturday and Sunday off, and Mondays would always hurt really bad getting back into the workout, right? After I hadn't done that high intensity for 2 days in a row, it always kind of hurt coming back. And it could give you this false sense of I should be doing this every single day, which is not necessarily true. And if you ever do a true taper and you really follow a real true taper, you'll see what I mean before a CrossFit competition, and you get to that competition and you just feel so amped and so ready to go. You feel so ready for that high intensity. You'll go to pick up weights and they just feel light. They feel like nothing. Weights that are normally somewhat heavy to you. I remember the first time I felt that, I was just blown away. But there's a tendency on people to just continually do those high intensity exercises every single day, day in and day out. But again, it is super important to do those lower intensity exercises the majority of the time. To build in, to take some time and to do some muscle building, which is going to really increase your metabolism, increase your basal metabolic rate, increase your body's ability to burn calories while just doing nothing by putting on more muscle mass, which is overall going to help you to be leaner, and it's going to help you to be able to eat more. And who doesn't want to be able to eat more, right? I think it's going to give you a overall great physique and be better for that longevity. Your joints can only take so much, your heart can only take so much, your body can only take so much beating every day, and you're going to feel a lot better by backing off. And something that you can do is just backing off like little by little. So if you're just really somebody that's doing high intensity work every single day and it's just really, really hard for you to break out of it, I would challenge you to just change 1 day a week to begin with. Like, let's not change the whole entire program. Let's not change the whole protocol. Change 1 day a week. Say, okay, if you work out 6 days a week, high intensity CrossFit Metcon style workouts, let's say 1 day a week, you're just gonna change the game. And 1 day a week, either if your cardio goal, if you want to improve your cardio, you're gonna take that 1 day a week and just do long aerobic base training. So maybe you're gonna start with 30 minutes of just steady state cardio at like a 60 to 70% heart rate. And then you're gonna build that up over a course of a few weeks. You'll go from 30 minutes to 35 minutes to 40 minutes to 45 minutes to 50 minutes to 55 minutes to 60 minutes. Until you're doing 60 minutes, maybe even, depending on how far you want to take your cardio, maybe even building up slowly to doing 2 hours of that aerobic base training, building up that mitochondrial density, building up that aerobic base. Now, as you build that up to that 2 hour mark, you may find that you have to back off on another day of training. All right, but I promise you, start integrating in, if you want to build your cardio, dropping 1 to 2 high intensity days a week and putting in that aerobic base training, you're going to watch it carry over into those CrossFit Metcons more than likely, if it's your cardio that's actually lacking. Of course, there's a lot of factors at play, tons and tons and tons. The more we find out, there are certain people in the fitness space that are really diving into this. And it could be a muscle endurance issue that's your biggest problem. So maybe you need to work on muscle endurance. Maybe it's strength that's an issue. So maybe you just want to build muscle. So instead of one day of that high intensity exercise, you just say, okay, that one day a week, you're going to do a full body, really slow tempo, bodybuilding style workout. You're going to do 3 sets of 10 for each muscle group. And that you're going to do that one day a week. And then if that feels good to you, maybe you add in another day per week of that type of training, right? And you start to watch your body change. You start to see that it's probably going to have a really positive effect and carry over on your CrossFit. Now, you can't throw out the high intensity stuff altogether completely if you're trying to still perform in CrossFit. And I think probably for most folks that high intensity, like, I still want to do some little dose of high intensity at least once per week, even when I'm not like training for performance. I'm not training for CrossFit to compete, not training for jiu-jitsu, not training for anything like that. I still want to get like at least one dose of like real high intensity a week. And the time frame spent there might not be long. I mean, I might just get into those like 90% those 90% heart rate, getting to that 90% heart rate range. I'm only be getting into that for like a minute at a time. It might not be very long and only for like 5 different intervals, right? But I'm touching on that, and I want to touch on that at least once a week. But I just want to talk about it a little bit, because to me it's just a common pitfall that people fall into. And they love CrossFit, they love the CrossFit class, they're competitive. But if you're competing every single day, you're just going to wear yourself down. You're just going to wear your body down. You're going to start ending, more than likely, unless you're just genetically built for CrossFit, you're going to start to have injuries. You're going to start to break down a little bit. You might start to have some burnout. You might start to notice that your sleep that's usually like, if you're overtraining, one of the first things that you'll notice, your sleep will just be spotty. You'll wake up in the night, your sleep won't be very good. Sometimes you'll have some really weird cravings, like you might have very, very intense cravings, or you might not want food at all. Those are some, you might be a little bit irritable. You might notice yourself kind of fiending for those high intensity CrossFit workouts to make you feel better. So you're feeling really crappy. And then as soon as you go in the gym and you do that high intensity workout, you feel good again for a little while, right? And that's usually a pretty good sign as well that you potentially are overtrained. If you still love doing your CrossFit class, there are some things that I would suggest that you can do if you want to back off from that high intensity training and try to start incorporating some of this stuff in your training while you're in that CrossFit class. So let's say you go into your CrossFit class and today you've got a AMRAP, and it's a 20-minute AMRAP, right? You're typically going in there, you're ready to compete, you're ready to do RX, you're ready to do this thing as hard as possible, and you're ready to compete. But now you're like, man, okay, I'm trying to slow it down one day a week and do more aerobic-based training, but I still want to do this CrossFit class. Well, instead, if you're a male that can normally do the RX weights and the RX prescribed workout, you might actually want to try doing maybe even the scaled female version. Now, that sounds crazy, right? Why would I do the female scale version? And you're going to catch some people in the class. They're going to be like, bro, you're sandbagging. What are you doing, man? Quit being weak. But I promise you, if you're trying to build that aerobic base, if you'll go down and you'll do that scaled female weight and just move methodically, move really nice and slow, work on your movement patterns, work on your breathing, try not to let that heart rate go above, depending on your age, going above, 75, 80%, and just trying to keep that down as low as possible and just moving through the workout, right? You can do that CrossFit workout. You can do it and you can enjoy it. You can have fun. You're already paying for that membership. You're paying for the class. You're paying for the programming. You can go take part, but you can adjust and tweak that programming to fit what you need to do. So if you need to work on that aerobic base, then as soon as you finish up the Metcon, clean up your stuff and then go over to a bike and just keep pedaling out at that low intensity, at that steady state low intensity, like zone 2, zone 3 heart rate, and just pedal out for, another 15, 20, probably ideally getting up to around 45 minutes of that lower intensity cardio. That's one way that you can integrate and incorporate that into your training. And another way is going to be if you're really wanting to focus on muscle building. On the contrary, what you might do is try to make it more of a muscle building style workout. So if there are weightlifting components in the workout, where or gymnastics components like pull-ups, you may say, well, instead of doing my butterfly pull-ups, I'm gonna do strict pull-ups and I'm gonna do slow negatives, right? I'm gonna work on building muscle in my lats. If we're doing walking lunges, maybe I'm gonna do heavy walking lunges and I'm gonna do them slow. And I'm not gonna really worry so much about trying to go fast in the workout, but I'm gonna focus on building muscle, which is gonna be more focusing on them slow, controlled reps, time under tension, a decent load, right? I'm gonna do that bodybuilding style. I'm not doing that high intensity style where I'm just trying to move through it as fast as possible, if that makes sense. So those are some ways that you can incorporate, you can still do the class workouts, you can still do the class CrossFit Metcon workouts and with all your friends, but you can tweak and adjust those workouts to fit your goals and not do that same super, super high intensity every single day, day in and day out. So a little bit of a rant there. If that triggers any kind of questions for you, please post those questions there in the comments, because I'd love to try to answer them, do another video. This is something that I'm pretty passionate about, because I think CrossFit gyms are like, man, they're, if I was moving to a new city today and I was like, man, I need to make some friends in this new city, I would 100% join a CrossFit gym, and I would know within 3 months I would have a lot of friends, because CrossFit is just it's crazy how great the community is within CrossFit, and CrossFit classes are super fun. So I understand wanting to be a part of that. But if you're really trying to train for longevity, I think CrossFit is great. The movements are great. The functional movements are great, with the exception of some, but you don't have to do all those movements. And that's the thing, is you can still be part of a CrossFit gym, cancel out some of the movements that are done that are not really necessary for you if you're not a competitor, and you can adjust and tweak your programming as needed. And if you have a good coach, they're going to understand that. If they don't understand that, do your own thing. If they want to keep hounding you about doing your own thing, hey, and by doing your own thing, I mean adjusting the programming to fit your needs, then you might need to find another gym. But any questions at all, hit me up. Thank you so much.